Welcome back to Psych Inside. In life, sometimes we face ultimate pain, haunting events, shocks beyond normal endurance that we call psychological trauma. And in severe cases, it can lead to a complex condition called post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, a chronic state where memories, emotions, and physical reactions from the traumatic event constantly recur and deeply affect the patient's current life. But have we truly understood everything trauma causes within our souls, beyond those surface symptoms? According to the great depth psychologist Carl Jung, psychological trauma doesn't just hurt our conscious ego. It causes much deeper, hidden dangers to the entire psychological structure, threatening our wholeness and our path of development. Through Jung's insightful lens, one of the most terrifying dangers, a dreadful destruction that trauma inflicts, is the way it creates complexes, powerful psychological energy clusters filled with suppressed emotions and memories, carrying destructive energy and tending to be autonomous. These are no longer mere memories. They are powerful psychological entities, echoes from the old hell capable of suddenly erupting and swallowing up your entire reality in the present moment. A fleeting scent, a sudden sound, a glimpse of an image, and suddenly the entire present world collapses. You are no longer here in the assumed safety of the present. You are violently thrown back to that moment of terror, helplessly reliving all the ultimate horror, the paralyzing fear, the agonizing helplessness, the burning shame, or the cold rage as if it's happening right now, on your skin, in your bones. Right here, right now, even while reason screams that you are in a safe place. This is how trauma complexes manipulate your reality, turning everyday life into a battlefield filled with triggers and unannounced pain. When this brutal invasion repeats, your fragile ego, the center of your consciousness of self and your connection to reality, is weakened, fractured, perhaps even shattered under the weight of the memory. You might feel you're not truly present in life, like walking through a fog, seeing everything from a distance, or feeling like your body doesn't belong to you. This dreadful dissociation creates a chasm separating you from reality, from others, and even from your own feelings and thoughts. Precious life energy, which should be used for loving, creating, and building the future, is completely drained to constantly fight the brutal invasion of complexes from the past or to build towering walls of defense. You live in a state of hypervigilance until exhaustion, your body always tense, your mind constantly bouncing between past and present, never finding complete peace. Furthermore, trauma acts like a toxic catalyst, magnifying the most unlovable aspects in your shadow, the part you don't want to acknowledge, hidden from yourself and the world. And these wounded shadow parts begin to project brutally onto your entire reality around you. You no longer see the world and the people around you through the lens of hope or connection, but through the distorted, hateful filter of trauma and self-loathing. A harmless gesture from someone can be interpreted as subtle contempt. A normal comment can trigger the ultimate fear of abandonment or betrayal. This destroys every chance of building healthy, genuine relationships in the present, because you are interacting and fighting with ghosts from the past and the unhealed wounds within, not the real person in front of you. And this is the greatest danger, the most dreadful destruction according to Jung. The deep rupture, the separation from the self, the nucleus of wholeness, of inner light, of healing potential, and the deepest meaning of life. Trauma can create the feeling that a part of your soul has been stolen or shattered beyond repair, that you are fundamentally broken, not whole, not worthy of happiness or connection. The ultimate danger isn't just living with PTSD symptoms or being haunted by the past. It's when the autonomous trauma complex completely seizes the center of the psyche, becoming the new center instead of the self, and you are permanently imprisoned in the trap of the past, living a life that is only a painful echo of what happened. The path to wholeness, individuation. The path to becoming your full potential, seems blocked by the invisible and brutal wall of unintegrated trauma. The greatest danger is losing the ability to reconnect with your inner light, with your innate capacity for healing, and being completely defined by the pain, living a life like a shadow of yourself in a distorted and suffering reality. Facing the truth about how psychological trauma creates autonomous complexes, shatters the ego, and imprisons you in the past is indeed very painful and can make you feel hopeless. But Carl Jung didn't stop at diagnosing the soul's wounds. He also offered profound insights into the path towards healing and integration. Jung's perspective isn't about trying to forget or erase trauma, which is almost impossible and not the goal, but about the process of integration. Integration means making that energy-filled trauma complex no longer an autonomous, separate entity controlling your life, but a part of your whole self, consciously recognized and managed. This path requires extraordinary courage to work with the trauma complexes. You need to learn to recognize when the complex is taking over, when sudden fear washes over you, when you react excessively to a minor thing, when the painful memory surges. It's crucial not to run from those intense emotions, but to allow them to be present in a safe, supportive environment, slowly trying to understand the complex's language. What is it trying to tell you? What does it need from you? This process is like gradually approaching a severely wounded part of yourself, not to judge or discard it, but to understand and ultimately help it reconnect with the rest of your soul. It's a persistent struggle to clearly differentiate between your present ego and the complex's energy, so you are no longer completely submerged by it. Alongside working with complexes, a crucial factor in Jungian healing is reconnecting with the self, the nucleus of wholeness, the source of healing potential, and the deepest meaning within your soul. Although trauma can make you feel broken and disconnected from the self, that connection is never entirely lost. By paying attention to your inner world through dreams, active imagination, a technique that allows you to actively dialogue with inner images, or creative expression, you can start noticing symbols of hope, resilience, and the path forward that the self is sending. It is the self's energy and guidance that provide the necessary strength to face the pain of the complex, find meaning even in suffering, and believe that wholeness is still achievable. Jung believed that our unconscious doesn't just contain what's repressed, shadow, or wounded complexes, but also has the capacity for self-healing and guidance through the language of symbols. Working with dreams using active imagination, a technique allowing you to actively dialogue with inner images, and seeking expression through art can help you access and process aspects of trauma that rational language struggles to reach. Symbols can help you understand the nature of the pain, discover forgotten inner resources, and find a way forward without needing to understand everything logically. For Jung, facing and integrating psychological trauma is a central, though incredibly difficult and painful, part of the process of individuation, the journey to becoming your most whole and authentic self. Trauma, paradoxically, can become a door that forces you to delve deeper into your inner world than anything else, confronting the darkest parts, and through that, finding strength, depth, and wisdom you wouldn't have gained otherwise. The individuation process doesn't avoid the wound but seeks to mend it with gold, turning it into a unique part and even a source of strength for who you are. However, it is extremely important to emphasize that the journey of working with psychological trauma, with autonomous complexes, and reconnecting with the self is not something you can do alone or just by watching a video. This is deep, complex, and requires safety, often needing professional support from a psychotherapist experienced in trauma and depth psychology. They can provide the safe space, guidance, and necessary tools to face the pain gradually, rebuild the strength of the ego, and step by step integrate the wounded parts. Recognizing the dangers and understanding the path to healing according to Jung is a hopeful first step. However difficult the journey, the potential for recovery and greater wholeness always exists within us, waiting to be awakened through the courage to confront and the guidance from the depths of the soul. As you can see, we've embarked on a challenging journey into the world of psychological trauma through the unique lens of Carl Jung. We've recognized that trauma is not just a painful memory from the past, but a deep wound of the soul capable of creating powerful autonomous complexes, shattering the fragile ego, wounding the shadow, and severing the connection to the self, hidden dangers that can imprison you in a distorted reality filled with fear and suffering. But more importantly, we've also discovered the pathway that Jungian psychology suggests for facing these invisible wounds. It's not about forgetting or denying, but a courageous integration process, consciously working with complexes and symbols from the unconscious, rebuilding the ego's strength, and most importantly, reconnecting with the self, the source of healing energy and wholeness that always exists within you. Jung showed that even in the ultimate pain of unintegrated trauma, potential for recovery and growth always exists. Facing and processing trauma deeply with appropriate support not only helps free you from the past's control but also becomes a central and meaningful part of the individuation journey, the journey of becoming the most whole person. Like the art of kintsugi, mending broken pottery with gold, the cracks in the soul, when acknowledged, cared for, and integrated, can become places where the light of the self shines brighter, creating a person with depth, compassion, and extraordinary strength they wouldn't have gained without that challenge. This path requires persistence and often professional guidance, but it leads to a life that is not just existence but profound wholeness and meaning, where you are no longer a victim of the past but the architect of your own future, carrying the wisdom from healed wounds. So, we've just explored the depths of psychological trauma through the lens of Carl Jung. I hope this video has brought you new and important insights,